The meeting of the Dudley-Charlton Regional School Committee is now in session. It is Wednesday, September 11th, 2019. It is 7 p.m., and we will all stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Steve, you have a statement to make this evening.
Yes, Madam Chair and School Committee. Today is an extremely important day in our history, and the Dudley-Charlton Regional School District will continue to honor those lost on 9/11 in 2001. I'm sure we can all remember where we were in 2001 when this occurred. Our secondary students did observe a moment of silence today as well, and they continue to conduct lessons during social studies or history classes on this significant day. Our youngest students observed a moment of silence as well, and were provided a message of special consideration for the reason or for the moment of silence today, 9/11/2001. So at this time, I would respectfully ask us to take a moment of silence in remembrance of 9/11/2001. Thank you.
Okay, approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our regular meeting of Wednesday, August 21st.
So moved.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries, it's unanimous. Approval of the warrants this evening. We do have warrants that will make its way around the table. Citizens Forum. Do we have anyone this evening that would like to come forward? Okay. Communications, Mr. Lamache.
I don't have anything this evening for communication.
Okay, and I don't. How about our members? No?
I'm sorry, can I
Okay,
just say,
Jamie.
I truly appreciate the information that the school district is providing regarding EEE, and I feel like the parents have told me they approve it, appreciate it, sorry. And I think that the messaging was as quick as it came from the Department of Public Health yesterday about the spraying, and I appreciated the prompt attention you put to that matter.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Superintendent's Report, Mr. Lamache.
Madam Chair and School Committee, to follow up on that, we continue to monitor the risk of EEE in our area. While Dudley and Charlton are still listed as moderate risk, we're sandwiched by areas listed as high or critical. During the school day, we have set forth a hypervigilant position regarding EEE, and we've asked our staff to be aware of any dawn or dusk type conditions within our school system during the day, any standing water, and to be hypervigilant in detecting whether there is a presence of mosquitoes. In such an event, students will not be permitted to conduct outside activities. We continue to monitor our risk level, state reporting, and media reports. The most recent report that I have is that there continues to be aerial spraying. They have now covered a portion of Charlton, the town of Charlton, which from my understanding, Charlton usually doesn't get covered because it's still considered a heavy agricultural community. But most of their spraying is around the Bufferville Dam area at this point in time, and they're going to continue to do some spraying this week in that area. But we will continue to monitor it. We're all praying for that first hard frost, long, deep, cold morning, so we can see our footprints in the grass the next day. But we also know that there will be a heavy offing of mosquitoes in our area as well. So I really appreciate the work of the high school, from the music department, phys ed, all the activities that are happening and the adjustments. I appreciate the Boosters Club at the high school making their adjustments, because I know concession stands and some of their fundraising is impacted by this as well, so I really appreciate their work around that too. But we will continue to monitor that.
Does that conclude your?
No.
No, okay.
Okay. You wanted to? You wanted to?
No,
I did take a pause.
moving right along.
All right, moving right along. I am pleased and happy to report to you that we had a very successful opening of the 2019-2020 school year. It's amazing to me that we are entering into the year of 2020. It sounds like a good visionary number, but it sounds like a very large number to me. It means that I'm growing a little bit older. The principals reported typical and manageable glitches, to including scheduling conflicts, class assignments, placements, but they were all things that were associated with first day jitters, and our staff was commendable in working all of the individuals through any anxieties associated with that. We will continue to collectively work to maintain that positive momentum throughout our school year this year. Continuing on.
Yeah, I'm following on. You can pause.
Please keep in mind that the Mass School Building Authority will be conducting a Shepherd Hill Regional High School senior study site visit Wednesday, September 18th, starting at 10 a.m. In our district office, and the meeting has been posted for a school committee to ensure that we have attendance, to ensure that we match the attendance of school committee members who choose to attend. We're looking forward to this site visit. Principal Chaplin and I already had a pre-meeting to talk about Mr. Matthew had a pre-meeting to talk about some strategies around the site visit if questions came forward, but we really look forward to the opportunity to share with them.
I just have a question. Are we supposed to come here a little early, did you say?
Yes, if you could, about
What
15
time?
minutes early.
So like 10:15?
Yeah, quarter of 10, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And if something changes, they have my cell number to call me, so if they're running late or something, I'll make sure that I communicate that out, okay? The next item is to me is kind of a heavy item, and I know that there'll be lots of discussion around this, but as a committee and public, you are aware that vaping has been labeled a youth e-cigarette epidemic in our society and across the nation. While I would like to share with you that there is no impact on our district, that would certainly be quite naive. Even if I was to suggest this evening that statistically we have low incidence of students partaking in vaping, this is not a fad like fidget spinners, digit pets, or silly bands. This is a serious health hazard on our students. In our schools. I am pleased that more and more people, groups, and leaders are stepping up, as recent as today, to the plate to address this young vape users throughout legislative and societal norming, but I am still very concerned about it. I wrote to the local legislators at one time recently that my major concern as a superintendent is the proliferation and propagation of vaping products on adolescents and maturing teenagers is outside of the long-standing laws, regulations, and litigated limitations to advertise tobacco. It really blows me away what these vaping industry is getting away with, from my perspective. The messaging that one nicotine product is better than another is out of touch and just plain wrong. We need the community's help. We need your help as a school committee, but we need the community's help. And I have been working with the Department of Health from Charlton as well as Dudley. I recently was informed that Charlton, as of October 1st, has some ordinances or regulations that are coming forward of banning flavored vaping within Charlton, as well as vaping products can only be sold behind lock and key. And I believe Dudley, working with Dudley, that they're right behind them in that process as well.
Can I just interrupt? This evening now, President Trump was on TV, and they're going to ban the flavored e-cigarettes, the products.
Yep, which is great.
So that's, hopefully, I hope it goes through. But he was on speaking about that.
That's fantastic. With that said, it will take all of us, again, to change the current vaping trajectory. And I have asked our secondary principals to share some of their work and some of the work we are doing to address this health concern within our schools. So I've asked Principal Chaplin, Principal Picard, and Principal Starczewski to come up and present a little bit and share what we're doing for vaping within our schools, because again, this is a serious issue for our students that we need to be front and center on and address. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello, good evening. So I could jump first if you want.
Sure.
This is something that we've been dealing with for years at different levels. We've tried a lot of different things, but no matter what, it's always going to come back to a balance of accountability, education, and relationships. And so we're always weaving any intervention that we have that's going on with that around that. this year we kind of made a really big push to have a larger presence of adults in the bathroom during passing time. We haven't gotten to the point where we're signing in and out of the bathroom yet, because I think the students are feeling empowered to police it a little bit more as well. I met today with the Shrewsbury Youth Family Services, who they were in the paper recently in one of the articles, and they're starting a vaping cessation program. So they came and made the pitch to me, and I liked what I heard, and we're going to be looking at that as well. So it's always going to come down to the accountability, and really the last couple of years we've had UMass in here, we've had other presenters come in, and we're going to try to attach that to other high volume attending, like the beginning of the fall sports season, where we have a packed auditorium. We're going to insert that in for the first half hour to have some vaping education in there as well. It's in our health curriculum, so it's always been in our health curriculum around choices and around substances and so forth. But this has become really not for our populations, the beginning population, but every day I'm reading another article on some respiratory illness that's linked to this. It's mysterious, as well as there's deaths now, and the deaths are of young 20-year-olds who have been doing it for many years. So we're trying to get in there and get on board with doing some education around that. There's various other things that we're doing in terms of having education materials for kids and so forth, and articles we're collecting now, which is similar in both of the middle schools in terms of the education piece. So I'm going to continue to work with our clinical staff as well as the community around how we can develop what's the best thing for Shepherd Hill.
And at the middle school, we're going to continue with our relationships with the Worcester County Sheriff's Department. They come in and they do presentations for kids, as well as the District Attorney's Office. They come in and they'll present at least once a year. In addition to that, we do monthly meetings with the students, and we talk about these issues out in an open forum. And we allow them to discuss and kind of self-police and kind of grow and try to understand what the ramifications are. I think hitting it from a middle school level, those relationships that we form with kids as they get off the bus in the morning, so they know they can talk to us, they can bring anything that's going on in their world to us. To put it in perspective, we had 3 incidences last year. I mean, we have 700 kids. It's not an epidemic with us right now, but we want to get out in front of this as much as we possibly can to help plant enough seeds so that kids will make good choices. And we really lament home. It's about choice making. Everything we do is about making proper choices. So as much as it's vaping now, it's everything in their world. So we just continue to surround them and provide opportunities for them to, come to us whenever they need something.
Everything that Mr. Chaplin, Mr. Packard said is true on the Dudley side. Mr. Tucker and members of the student support team, Mr. Tucker's our assistant principal, if you don't recognize the name yet, attended a couple of workshops last year, related to vaping and, drugs and, other addictive behaviors. Came back with some good ideas from some other schools. So last year we did have a couple of incidents, and we did work very closely with the parent partnership and the student partnership to work on an educational component. As Mr. Chaplin said, that 3-pronged approach. We've got accountability in our discipline, we've got education in our response and our prevention, and our relationships with parents and kids. We piloted this diversion type program just to see how the educational component during a discipline action could work. And it was relatively positive for the kids who chose to participate and the parents who chose to participate. So we're not going down the road of anticipating the need for a diversion program, but when we get the student who is a repeat offender, we have some tools in our belt where we're able to provide some additional instruction beyond our health curriculum, beyond our student support team, beyond our community meetings, to really leverage the power of positive choice, smart choice, healthy decision making. And that's really what middle school is about. I'd love to say we never have an altercation on the playground. We never have a student bring something to school that they shouldn't, but the reality is they're going to. It's our reaction and response that needs to be realistic, but at the same time responsive to the needs of the kiddo who made the bad decision. I think that's our summary.
So Madam Chair and School Committee, I think what you collectively heard in part of our discussions is this has to be an engaging process. This has to be something that we built a relationship with the students that are involved in this, what I, again, consider an epidemic. It hasn't maybe reached the numbers here, but it all it takes is one for us to be concerned. So it really needs to be an engaging process from A to Z with the actual student and the family, a high level of communication. It's not a gotcha process. It's not a perfunctory, you did this, therefore you get that. We need to be engaging and figure out what fits and what works best with that individual student in that individual family to try to put an end to this. So within our district. So I really appreciate you, the principals, coming forward and sharing.
Thank you for your work.
I'm not sure if the committee has questions.
I have, through the chair, I have a question. I agree with everything you said, Mr. Lamache, on engaging the student and absolutely not trying to catch the student, but help me understand some of the technology that's out there. I know we talked about it before, and I don't know if the principals could share their thoughts or your thoughts on it.
Sure, there is technology out there. It's evolving technology. The main one that most people are gravitating towards is some sensor within the lavatories or the bathrooms. From my colleagues and from the principal's peers, they're not effective in changing the practice of vaping. They're very effective in telling you somebody was in there and somebody vaped, but unless you actually have a camera pointed at the lavatory or right in the lavatory and you pinpoint it, it's not effective at really changing that level of practice. There is a cost factor to it. That's not the reason why we wouldn't invest in it. It's just the effectiveness of it that has really not been tried and true at this point in time. So that's the major technology that's out there right now.
That's what I've heard. I just was
Yep.
curious. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you. And at this point, I'd like to welcome Karen, our new assistant superintendent. And welcome Karen to the table. And Kylie, Kaylee. Too bad it isn't Kylie, right?
I just found out the other day it's Kali.
Oh,
Like my dad
really?
was like, if you ever went to Ireland, like they'd call you Kali, and I was like, oh, okay. Thanks for
great.
calling me Kaylee my whole life. Could have been cool and special.
Welcome, Kaylee. And,
You are cool and special.
Oh,
Yes.
thank
Yes,
you.
that's right.
I'm
and you
honored.
were a rep last year,
Yes.
so welcome back.
Thank you. I hope you guys all
And
had a great summer.
You're going to give us the report.
Yes, I'm sorry. It is a little on the longer side again tonight.
okay.
Lots of school. First week, very busy. So yeah, I hope you guys all had a great summer. Tans aren't fading just yet. Up at the high school, we have the first honors recognition dinner coming up on Thursday, September 19th at 6:30 in the cafeteria. And it's just a congratulations to any students who achieved first honors last year. And it's a parent dinner prepared by Shepherd Hill Food Services, and it's served by the Shepherd Hill faculty and staff. And then our annual homecoming day and dance is Saturday, September 28th. It's a fun day planned for all. The unified basketball game, I was just talking to Mr. Chaplin. I think it's around 10 o'clock, but it's still up in the air of when that time is going to be. But we're expecting a packed gym for that game. It should be really fun, great environment. And then the varsity football kickoff is going to be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, with the homecoming dance concluding the day from 6 to 10 p.m. You guys are going to like the next one. So I'm not sure if you heard about it, but Ms. Perangeli is hosting and has organized an adult foreign language trip for all community members and parents in the Dudley-Charlton area. So parents and community members are invited to participate on these incredible adventures. The first trip is 11 days through the Canadian Rockies during August 11th to the 21st in 2020. And the second one is a 13-day adventure along the Adriatic Sea in Croatia and Italy. And this trip is taking place October 2nd to the 14th in 2020. A meeting date will be announced to be held in late September, and anyone interested can email Ms. Perangeli to get more info. No commitments, just a little bit of information. And we have another Shepherd Hill student who's shining very bright. Dudley's Daniel Brooks, Jr. here at Shepherd Hill. He claimed the New England Boys Junior PGA Championship golfing this past summer. And there will be a financing seminar hosted by the Massachusetts Education Financing Authority on October 17th from 6 to 8 in the auditorium. And then over the summer, we had several students participate in Project Mexico, helping to build a house for a family in need. And we actually had a Shepherd Hill graduate of 2018. Her name's Theodora Veronis. If any of you guys know Theo, she is the sweetest person alive. She volunteered the past 3 summers, her last few years at high school, and she became an intern for the program last year and continued doing that this year. She took her gap year of service before starting Temple University this fall. And along with Mexico, she spent the past year in Uganda, Kenya, Peru, and Albania, and Greece doing service projects, volunteering. So that was awesome. She's a great kid. And then Mr. Chaplin just asked me to share this. So as you all know, we have our unified basketball team and our unified program that we have up here at Shepherd Hill. And he actually got a letter from the Director of Schools and Youth Engagement of Special Olympics Massachusetts, and Shepherd Hill Regional High School is an official Special Olympics Massachusetts Unified Champion School. Yay. So yes, they got that honor. It was amazing. So if you do want to see the unified team in action, it is going to be a basketball game in the gym sometime around 10. If we have another meeting before that, I'll let you all know. On September 28th, the homecoming day, will be in the gym. So yeah, that's all I have for today.
Any questions?
Yeah. Trip sounds awesome. I wish I could go.
Thank you, Kaylee.
No
Very
problem.
cool.
Thank you.
That brings us to new business. Records Access Officer.
Madam
Mr.
Chair and School
Lamar.
Committee, the School Committee is required to vote in accordance with the Public Records Law that was passed January 1st, 2017, to designate an individual as a RAO, or a Records Access Officer. This is an individual who coordinates the agency's and municipalities' response to requests for public records, assists individuals seeking public records in identifying the records requested, assists the custodian of records in preserving public records that are requested, and prepare guidelines that enable requesters to make informed requests. So as a district, I'm recommending that Ms. Sandra Sullivan be designated as the RAO. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't work closely with her, but I would ask the district to formally vote for Ms. Sandra Sullivan to be the district
Entertain a
RAO.
motion to nominate Sandra
So
Sullivan.
moved.
Second.
Discussion?
We don't have one right now, we never did
You
that.
don't
motion.
have- right, I
But
have-
Sandra used to do it anyway, without being an official.
Right.
And Ms.
Yeah.
You worked with the superintendent.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries, it's unanimous.
Congratulations.
For-
It doesn't come with the trip
Official.
with Mary, sorry.
That brings us to 2019, 2020 professional development calendar, and Karen, you're going to give us that report.
Thank you. So tonight I'm here to share with you the professional development plan for the district for this school year. We worked as an administrative team for the last, I would say, 6 months, and kind of honed it in last week, and put together this nice plan that we'll be sharing with all our teachers soon. So I'm just gonna, you probably have already looked at it, but I'm not gonna read every word, but it just gives you an idea of where we are with our strategic plan, which those are the letters and numbers all spelled out for you there under the specific cohort. So critical thinking and problem solving, those are the competencies that that the part relates to in that cohort. Technology literacy, effective communication, initiative, self-direction, and resilience, and empathy. So where those are noted, this is where it kind of applies. So October, we've kind of structured it this year. So we have 2 full days and 1 half day. So October 11th is a full day, and October 11th and March 20th will mirror each other in the activities going on. And then January 17th is going to be structured specifically around diving into data, and I'll go into that in a minute when I get there. So October 11th, we have our co-teaching cohort. It tells you the approximate amount of teachers. That's a K through 12 initiative. And so what we also did was we looked at, and I put in essential questions that we're also going to share with our teachers so they know what to expect and they know what their learning will look like that day, and kind of the objectives of the day for them. And then we have the Houghton Mifflin reading pilot that's going on in our elementary grades 1 through 4. So they'll be going through the essential questions, and we have a trainer coming in that day also to go over specifics of the program with them. Happy to report that all teachers are in the pilot, are diving into that this week. So that's starting. We're also continuing with our project-based learning academy. Also the same consultant that came at the end of last year that was so highly regarded is coming in this year for a cohort of 3 days with the same group of teachers. We're focusing on secondary schools, middle and high school, specifically history, math, science, and foreign language, which they have already the principals have shared those teachers with me, and they're basically going to be again looking at problem and project-based learning opportunities and how to weave their content into a more student voice and choice project. Then we also have the Project Lead the Way cohort, which is again well underway in the middle schools. Those teachers are again working with each other collaboratively, but we'd also like to see them going outside the district, working with other teachers close by, like Leicester and Uxbridge. Their high school also has the same program, so we've been trying really to collaborate with them as well. Just like to share that, collaboration is a big key of what we do, and really trying to foster that relationship, as they were talking about, going and seeing what our like schools are doing with the vaping and the e-cigarettes. Same thing with curriculum. We always want to be sharing and looking and see what everyone else is doing. Next one is the middle school social studies. And again, we were talking about the new frameworks changing, and they have some new materials that they're diving into. So they're going to look at that specifically this year and how that's going to affect them in curriculum mapping for the following year. We have an exciting opportunity this year for Massachusetts STEM Week. Last year was the first year that happened in the state of Massachusetts, and they're looking to expand it this year. And I would encourage you to please look at the link that I supplied, because we have the Project Lead the Way cohort that we are already in with the middle school and high school teachers. Anyone through the state of Massachusetts can get trained this year for the Project Lead the Way curriculum to provide to their kids during that week. So our elementary school teachers are there to train the trainer model, and we have probably 4 or 5 teachers who are going to go and participate in that and bring it back to the elementary schools this year. And in just like a side conversation, we had a conversation with our reading specialists who are doing community reading this year, and we're really looking, that's actually the same week, and we're looking to really put a STEM theme to literacy and the engineering challenges. So excited about that. And then everybody else who's not in a cohort, that still is approximately 100 teachers, and so we are looking to do an ed camp, probably here at the Hill, which is basically a self-directed unconference, so teachers come in and they get essential questions, and they basically are led to say, I want to learn about, Google Classroom. I want to learn about social emotional learning. And we have someone volunteers to be an expert, and they kind of do a little presentation, and it's a very easy peasy, no pressure. You don't have to stay in the room. If it's not going to meet your needs, you can go to something else. And Mr. Starshevsky and Mr. Chaplin and I have been to some ed camps together, and so I know that they're excited about helping to lead that particular those particular days. So I was excited about that. Then for student services, our guidance counselors and adjustment counselors are going to be working on those variety of things that I've listed there: Wellness Week, College Fair, individual learning plans for the innovation pathways, which the guidance counselors here at the high school took training from DESI last year, and they're going to hone in on that a little bit more. The nurses will be incorporating allergy and health plans into School Brains and Mosaic, our lunch program software. They're also go to opportunities, again, collaborating with other districts, which they're still looking into to see what kind of possibilities are out there for this year. The school psychologists, speech and language pathologists, and special education teachers are getting special training in their assessments, and they've had training over the summer, and they're just going to kind of hone in on that a couple more this year around the software that they're using. Occupational therapists will be doing program self-reflection and entrance and exit criteria. They're going to recalibrate some more. And they also have this great Continue Ed digital platform where they kind of personalize their learning. And I just love any time that you can ask somebody, what are you interested in learning and what are you going to benefit from? And there's a platform that's available for them to do that. And then our instructional assistants, both kindergarten and special education, they're going to be going over these types of training about behavioral supports, so everybody can get the consistent training on that, and student behavioral plans. Our intensive learning center teachers are going to be going over program guides and curriculum review to make sure that we have consistency in those particular programs. So that's pretty much the full day, October 11th and March 20th in a nutshell. And then on January 17th, we have an early release day. So the theme that we really want to focus around on that day is how can data be used to drive our instruction with our various programs that we're already using in K through 8 classrooms, such as the START platform, to meet and assess student needs. And they also have a personalized learning platform on that, where if teachers want to learn more about it, it's called Renaissance University. They can take classes in that. We have coaching sessions available with this particular software that we will probably be having some coaching sessions around with our teachers on that day as well, or leading up to that. And then also MCAS data, specifically around the secondary classrooms, diving into MCAS data. Intensive Learning Center teachers will be doing more about measuring growth and how to measure growth. And instructional assistants as well, critical elements of collecting data and basically learning more about what we do around collecting data.
Any questions?
I have a couple questions, just because this is kind of new to me. So.
It's new, yeah.
Is there ever a time, and maybe, I would think it's Professional Development Day, but maybe it's a different time, during the year that non-co-taught classroom, like if you're not a co-taught classroom, you'll be able to hear about
what's going
what's
on,
happening and things like that?
So we actually do, yes, I imagine that would be great. Number one, curriculum newsletter, which I hope to start soon. And I know Mrs. Allen already started a special education and pupil services newsletter. So that type of thing will be in there. We also have, and we are forming a professional development committee. So I'm actually excited to say that we have 4 meetings a year, and I put a request out early this week, and I have 14 people who are excited from all different elementary, secondary, tech, special education, English language learners. So
Good.
and there's also other opportunities. For example, we do book clubs, we do winter after school sessions and other things like that.
Okay. And then, I think you kind of answered this because you were excited about it, but what kind of feedback do we gather from our educators about what they would want in professional development? Do you do surveys? Do you have SurveyMonkey?
Yep. So after these types of days, we always get their feedback.
Okay.
And then they also bring it to their principals.
Okay.
You know, that's kind of what we hope to do, and that's actually why we have the Professional Development Committee.
Great. And then I just don't know what ALEKS stands for.
Oh,
for now.
Alex, I don't know the exact letters, but it is also a math personalized learning program that they just got it for the high school math last year.
Okay.
So it's basically like the kids do skills, math, mostly algebra, right? Skills, and they determine what they're ready for next, what they're ready to learn next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
I just have a question. What's the status of the civics program?
It's going.
It's going.
Yeah.
I guess that's the
They're-
status.
Yeah.
So how's
Well,
it doing? I mean.
So basically, we are in 8th grade. They have some resources that they are needing to delve into, and this year they're having a blended curriculum, shall we say, while they're delving into those new resources, and they've modified their curriculum so that starting around February, Black History Month, they'll really be, and the Democratic National Convention, I think they were talking about, that they're going to be starting to teach that in 8th grade, which is why we want to look at the flow for next year for really moving into it.
So
At
what
the
is-
high school, they're also looking into, I know we have one high school department chair in the social studies department who's doing a program with Harvard University with case studies, and Mass STEM Hub, who we're involved with Project Lead the Way that we got our grants from. We were invited to that opportunity by being in this program. So, and he's going to a couple of those.
How are they fitting that into the school day? Like, what are they taking out to replace the time? Or is it like worked into the history already? How they?
Oh
fitting
yeah,
it in?
it's every
It's part of-
day.
But I
It's-
mean, is it taking the place of the history class, or it's part of their history class?
which grade are you talking about?
Well, in middle school, I guess.
Middle
eighth
school,
grade
it's
is
going to
in
be a grade 8. It's grade 8 curriculum.
So what does it
Mhm.
replace? Or is it just being another thing?
Well,
added
it's
to the
just
day?
it replaces the grade 8 curriculum, which is moving down to like 6th and 7th.
Okay.
It's shifting
Okay.
in various ways.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thanks.
Can you talk a little bit about the Houghton Mifflin reading pilot, how that's being handled, and when a decision's gonna be made, and what happens then?
So right now we have weekly meetings scheduled that I'll be checking in with the teachers. They've been getting their materials and checking in with me as we delve into it. October 11th they're still learning, and I don't honestly think I can say right now when we're going to be able to make a decision, because they're still learning the program to be able to bring it to their kids. But we have a rubric for that. We have, all kinds of evaluation materials that we'll be using, to determine that. Which I can update you.
Okay.
Yep.
Me too, please.
Yeah, which we'll be doing at the Teaching and Learning Subcommittee.
Great.
We're both on it, so that's right.
Yeah, and you're on it.
That works.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Next on the agenda is live feed school committee meetings.
Yes,
And
Madam Chair and School Committee, I know that we're faced with YouTube no longer being a functional tool for school committee meetings because Google owns YouTube, and Google is not supporting it as a broadcaster or a storage location for public Google accounts. I don't know if I think I said that the right way. Karen, you can,
So I get the official word from
Okay.
Dan, so I can share.
please.
So basically, Google for Education, which we all use, and we have individual accounts, right? Your email at dcrsd.org. If you're a branded account, which means you're not a particular person, you're a group. And so, for example, if you were like a bakery, it would be like Kenny's Bakery at gmail.com. Well, if you're an education supported, like DCRSD.org, and you have like school committee at DCRSD.org, they're not supporting those types of things anymore because it's not related to a person, and they think, it's not what they want an education account to be used for, essentially.
I have a question. I went on there the other day and it seems to be working.
Well, so what happened was
okay.
basically they are trying to give people more time to get their stuff down.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah.
It was because all of a sudden it came back, so.
Yeah, because I did
It's not
speak to
reliable.
Dan, and he said the same thing, that they're giving people time
Oh,
to take
okay.
their
So we
things
need to make
off
different
and.
plans.
What's
Correct.
gonna happen to our own accounts? The Dudley-Charlton account?
We
Yeah.
already have archived our meetings, they're all archived on a
No, I'm
server.
talking about our actual, you said our email.
Oh, no,
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 that's-
yours will
that's
be
okay.
fine.
So
No,
it's
no,
just-
it's
yeah.
just the one that,
It's
It's
YouTube
just-
it's
specific.
YouTube
Okay,
specific.
it's only for YouTube.
It's just YouTube.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, just YouTube. So knowing that, we know we have to transition to something,
Right.
and
Because Dan said in about 2 or 3 months it's gonna go.
it could be completely gone, right? So we did, myself, Dan, D'Arcangelo, I think I said that right, Assistant Superintendent Ayers, and the video recording extraordinaire Richard Earl met yesterday, actually, and we were trying to come up with a solution for that so that we can still broadcast and still have a archiving system. So right now, we're looking at Vimeo, which is a software out there, and it's relatively inexpensive. It would be $900 for the year, but at the same time, it would give us the opportunity to broadcast this meeting live as well. We're not doing that tonight. We're not going to do that. We'll let you know if we're working towards that, and I just wanted to get a sense from the school committee if that was a desirable thing to broadcast live. But no matter what, we need to move to something
And it'll cost
different.
900 for the year?
$900 for the year.
What's the what did you say, Memo? what was it?
Vimeo.
Oh,
Vimeo
like
live
Like
stream.
a mimeograph, like the old-fashioned.
It's
MIMEO.
VIMEO, I think.
Okay.
Maybe I think I spelled that right.
Because when we first started taping these, it was gonna be too expensive to get the equipment to do live. That was one of the reasons why we have a tape delayed. It was very expensive. So this is only.
All we need is a CPU, a computer.
Maybe things have advanced so
Plugged
far,
into an
that's probably
HDMI,
why,
yeah.
yeah. Because that was the problem,
Yep.
money-wise.
Yep. It's $75 a month to do this. It's,
Unlimited amount, like if you had a meeting every night, it would still be only 75?
Yes.
Once, okay.
yep, and the archiving is unlimited as well.
I'm just checking, we're not having a meeting every night. Always plan for the worst.
Wait a minute, I watched last year. Last year you had a meeting every night, I think.
It felt like it. And if not, we stayed 6 hours, so made up for it.
They carried over to the next day, doesn't that count as 2 days?
Yes, it does.
So this, I think this is a good, we
That's
met,
pretty
I think
cheap.
this is a good initial
That's
first
very
step.
inexpensive.
To come up with a second solution for us, but also creating the opportunity to broadcast live as a committee as well.
So everything's done the same, it's just you have this
Yes,
extra.
because Vimeo itself records it and archives it while you're broadcasting.
And then we can go on our computer and
Yep.
get any of them that
Yep,
we
it's all
want,
linked
like
and
you.
accessed,
yeah.
correct, yes,
Okay.
yep.
I never did anyways.
Some of you know how I feel. I think that's the way to go. The towns, Board of Selectmen, they all do live. It's on TV. Not that I want to be a local celebrity, but the point is, we should be out there in the community allowing people to have access to the meetings. So I think it's the way to go. It's my opinion.
I don't really think that we need to have them live, but if it's gonna do it for that price. But I wouldn't spend a lot of extra money to go live, because we've been
Correct.
perfect without it for the last how many years, but it's so inexpensive, I don't see why we wouldn't do it live.
Great.
Okay, we'll get more
Okay.
information on it.
Yeah, and the goal would be to do like a, kind of a test run somewhere else for some other event or something to see how it works before we bring it to the.
That's another
to the
thing, like if
committee.
you wanted to, they used to have a feed, but had the graduation there and everything, can that do that too, or would that be extra?
It could, but this is like an initial first step to make
Okay,
sure that it's a good
good.
solution for us. But then the cost goes up the more you broadcast, and
Okay,
and
so
if
this-
you may
this-
need some broadcasting equipment and stuff
Right,
like
okay.
that, but, yeah.
All right, thanks.
And that's an alternative to, so it's live on this website,
Correct,
not on like the local cable television.
correct.
And what are the pros and cons there,
Just access.
just to get it there?
Somebody, but most homes, I mean, I did a survey maybe 10 years ago, and 85% of homes have some technology device, whether it's your smartphone or some, so, you know, I think that it's higher than that now. That was like a decade
Of
ago.
course, yeah,
so-
I was just curious,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's
Now,
just
how
access.
does it work? Like Earl will still be.
Yeah, it'll look like
The
what's
same.
going on tonight,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yep. Except as Kenny said, you'll be, you know, we'll have to take an intermission somewhere in the middle of the meeting so people can go to the bathroom or get a refreshment.
Or she'll just keep hurrying you along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Skip that report.
Thank you.
Yes, that's it. for now.
Okay, thank you. Next, Director of Finance and Operations report, Rich.
Thank you. We have a couple of donations for the committee to consider this evening. Shepherd Hill Regional High School has a potential donation of in-kind work work to be paid by the Dudley Little League. I attached a memo with a more detailed explanation from Principal Chaplin and an outline of the work that would be done. I see no downside in having this work done and accepting this donation.
Okay,
I
I'll
make a motion
entertain a
to accept
motion
the
to
donation.
accept it.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries, it's unanimous.
Thank you. Dudley Middle School received a donation of $500 for the Dudley Music Department from Rock Voices. Mason Road School received a donation of $945 from various community members for the purpose of providing kindergarten students with a monthly book from Scholastic Books.
Excellent. I'll entertain a motion to accept these two donations.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries, it's unanimous.
Thank you. And lastly, the district has received donations on behalf of CPAC. These donations are earmarked to pay for a speaker and materials for a multi-week seminar series hosted and put on by CPAC. To date, $275 have been received with the expectation of additional donations to come. CPAC has expressed an interest in setting up a Friends of group to allow for more independent financial operations from the district. However, school committee is empowered to accept donations, for this purpose, earmarked for CPAC and subsequently used by them.
So you recommend that we accept it?
This will be hopefully a one-time occurrence.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to accept the donation.
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
Just a question. So you're not saying they're not gonna send up that Friends Up group? Because doesn't that involve a lot of extra stuff?
If they really want to have these types of programs on an ongoing basis, they should create a Friends
They
of
should.
group. So it's really going to depend on how they want to operate. But in speaking with Mrs. Anderson, she's indicated that they're going to pursue that.
That'd be kinda like the John Pierre Fund when they took it over on their own. Would it be
Exactly.
just
They've
like
got to
that?
they've got to set up, through the IRS,
Right.
their own, 503C corporation.
But we're not doing that now, it's too early.
They haven't done it yet, but they would like to have this program. So this is an appropriate mechanism to
Okay.
accomplish the same goal.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries, it's unanimous.
Thank you. I provided the committee some information about the FY19 closeout. As discussed previously, we're still on track to have our excess and deficiency balance certified in the $1.2 million range. School transportation revenue for FY19 exceeded our budget by $117,000, and that will be used to offset future assessments in transportation. Circuit breaker, I expect to close out a little bit higher than anticipated when we started the year last year, about this time last year. And school choice, same thing. And as I indicated, I think the school choice is the appropriate financing mechanism for general ledger software. It provides immediate access to that. So I think once the books are closed completely and we have a final fixed balance, that will be my recommendation to the committee, but I will look, to enhance that fund as much as possible with any last transactions that are posted.
We've got a couple of questions. What's the final school choice enrollment? Do you have that figure out of
It's
the
not,
store?
it's not final, it's still a little fluid, but we're around 160 at this point in time.
Well, that's good. And the other thing is usually we get a mapping of like who we placed who and the cost and so, that big chart that we get like when teachers leave. Is that coming soon?
Yep.
The next meeting?
Next meeting.
Next
Okay,
meeting.
thanks.
We're going to, I think we were planning on sharing that as budget sub, but,
Okay,
okay?
okay, good.
First, yeah.
Thank you.
And lastly, the Dudley Middle School cooling tower was delivered this week. The expectation is it will be up and running by the end of the week. I wish it had been operational as of today, however. A couple of days didn't work out properly, but the weather certainly has cooperated. We did not have the issues that we did last year. So, a couple more days or a couple days of a little bit of heat in that building won't be the worst thing in the world, so.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you very much.
Consideration of requests for overnight travel, policy IJOA. Mr. Lamar.
Madam Chair and School Committee, this evening we have a request for an overnight field trip for the Bay State Show Choir Festival. Choral Director Boussier and Principal Chaplain will come forward to present this, but in essence, the Shepherd Hill Show Choirs have been attending this event for 35 years. The event begins Friday, November 8th, 2019, and goes through Saturday, November 9th, 2019, at Oliver Ames High School in northeastern Massachusetts. This request comes with an early dismissal on Friday, November 8th at or around 11 a.m. Students will attend their morning classes until the early dismissal time. The event concludes at or around 10:30 p.m. Saturday, November 9th, 10:30 p.m. That's a long day. And I just want to comment before they present. With that said, we are aware that there's a new school committee policy as of June, IJOA. It was updated. Section 2B requires an initial 6-month lead time for school committee consideration for this type of overnight school-sponsored field trip. I am respectfully requesting that the Dudley-Charlton Regional School Committee waive said requirement for this specific request. And please know that all other IJOA requirements are met through this application, and that we understand and we will follow policy IJOA as outlined by school committee and passed June 11, 2019, and will ensure compliance moving forward.
Okay, before we start, I will entertain a motion to waive the policy IJOA.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries, it's unanimous. Okay. Go ahead.
I know the last time I was here asking to go to Ohio, I said we weren't going to attend this one this year, because I felt bad that all these other schools that never get to travel and compete didn't get to go last year. And, you know, I wanted to give them a kind of a chance. And we've been going for like 35 years, and, you know, it's been great for us, but the younger programs really needed the space. But at the end of the year, or like over the summer, the Easton School District decided to cut their music program after building $1 million auditorium and having a just as long as a history as we have with show choir and excellence in music. They're trying to hold it together. The old teacher came back. The people there said if you could get someone to teach it after school, you could have it back. And so it's a kind of a mess, and it would be really awful, I think, if Shepherd Hill didn't support them and that we didn't go, since we were the first schools with Oliver Ames and Waltham and Southbridge to have a show choir program in Massachusetts. This may be the last time this happens. This festival's been 35 years, like our show choir festival. It's 35 years this year. And the kids really want to support, and so do the staff, really want to support their efforts in trying to get their music program back. Yeah.
We'll make motion to accept the field trip, or the overnight trip.
Second.
Discussion.
I think it's nice you're helping them out, because it is tough,
Yeah.
especially when everyone's cutting programs and we keep ours going, you know.
Right,
That's
which
nice.
we totally appreciate, but
I have a comment too. I have friends that live in Waltham and they know Oliver Ames, and when I made a comment once that I was a graduate from Shepherd Hill, and they're like, Shepherd Hill, we have a reputation.
We do.
And we should be proud of that.
Yeah. We
do.
So I just wanted to say
for
that.
many years it was Oliver Ames,
Yeah.
Shepherd Hill,
Right.
and Waltham.
Correct,
Right,
yes,
yep.
correct, yeah.
Yeah. But luckily, or I don't know if it's luckily, but the rest of the state has come way up. Yeah, so there's a lot of good watching out there. Yeah.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries, it's unanimous. Good luck.
Great, thank you. Going back to rehearsal.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us up to next meeting dates, school committee meetings. Wednesday, September 25th, at the Charlton Middle School at 7 p.m. Budget and Finance Subcommittee, Tuesday, September 17th, and that's at the Shepherd Hill Regional High School, and that's 8:30 a.m. Policy Review Subcommittee, Monday, October 7th, and that's at the Shepherd Hill Regional High School, 9 a.m. Curriculum Subcommittee for Teaching and Learning, October 17th at Shepherd Hill, 10 a.m. Capital Outlay Subcommittee to be announced.
Yes, I've been working with the towns to try to get a representative from the towns on that
Okay.
committee, so that hasn't been determined yet.
Okay, and then the Safety Subcommittee to be announced at a later date. Future agenda items, 2019, 2020, hiring chart, superintendent's entry plan, MSBA senior study follow-up. Anyone want to contribute?
Can we just get the final numbers and where the students went for school choice?
Okay,
What grades, I should say.
all right.
Are we gonna be having an MCAS results presentation?
When will that be?
You cannot do it until after, like in October, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, October would be great for that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then also, we have a new director over at the Webster Dudley Boys and Girls, or Dudley Webster Boys and Girls Club. And I didn't know if you wanted him to come and just kind of present very quickly at a meeting on his
That would
offerings.
be fine. Do you know when he would like to come?
I'll reach out to
What-
him.
okay.
I'll introduce myself and
To
reach out
say
to him.
if he would like to come for our next meeting.
And it's sad that Lamar has left,
But it would be nice to hear
but I
from
can reach out to them.
He's starting a whole like
Right.
STEM.
It would be nice to hear
Yeah,
from him and
that's-
what he
our-
has to
Our kids
offer.
worked
Right.
on it last
Okay.
year.
That's great.
Our kids, our seniors helped do the STEM curriculum
That's wonderful.
over there last year for their school project.
So Mr. Lamache will reach out
Yep.
and maybe next meeting or
I think
the meeting
next
after.
meeting would be great.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. And I will entertain I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? We're adjourned.